Hey guys, it's Susie with Femme, Fatale Paranormal Research. We are starting a new thing on our Facebook page called Spooky Story Saturdays, where we ask our followers to send us their spookiest ghost encounters or their most memorable paranormal-ish things, and we will share them with our followers on our Facebook page. We're starting this week with Holly and I's most memorable paranormal encounters. And today I'm going to talk about the story that inspired me to actually make the documentary that we're going to be shooting this summer. About a year and a half ago, I had the pleasure of investigating the battleship USS North Carolina with Wilmington Paranormal Research, which Holly was also a member of. She was at this investigation, and she was there when this story took place, or when this encounter took place. I wasn't expecting the battleship to be very haunted at all. I just thought it would be a fun place to run around at night with, your friends and, hunt for ghosts. But it was actually, that investigation changed the way that I thought about the paranormal. I experienced things there that my logical brain, even though I can't explain it, because everything that I come up with is debunked as not what happened, but my brain just still won't let me accept that it could have been a ghost. But the encounter I want to talk about was down in the galley of the ship, which is where the sailors had their recreational time, where they ate, they watched some movies, they played games on their downtime. And a group of about 5 to 7 of us, including Holly and I, were doing an audio session down there. We were sitting on these big, long cafeteria tables, and we were using a technique with those twisty flashlights, the ones that you twist the head and they turn on and off. We use it to communicate with spirits easier, so that way they don't have to speak, and we might be able to communicate with them in real time, because sometimes we can't hear what the spirits are saying. We catch it on our audio equipment later in what's called an electronic voice phenomenon, an EVP, which is great, but if we don't hear it in the time that we're investigating, sometimes it can be a little frustrating because we actually were communicating with something, but we didn't know it. But with this, it's an easy way for us to communicate a lot easier with the spirit and know that they're communicating with us. We usually ask it to turn the flashlight on for yes answers, and then we ask it to turn it off, so that way, for a couple reasons. 1, we know that it's not a fluke, that it can be repeated, and 2, so that it resets the question. So again, we're down in the galley. We have our flashlight on the ground, and it's off enough so that if we stomped around it and the ship moved, or which it doesn't move, it's beached, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to move. It's not going to roll and turn on, but it is kind of easy to turn on. So we have it on the ground, and we start our audio session. We start off by asking a very basic questions, and we asked, are there any sailors here with us today? Something that's broad but specific enough, So of course, the only dead people that are going to be there are soldiers, because no civilians died on there. Or sailors, because no civilians died. So one of our investigators again asks, are there any sailors with us today? And as I sit here in real life, that flashlight turned on. And I thought, that's weird. That's weird. That's weird. And we say thank you, and you turn it back off. And just immediately, it turned it off, as if it was responding to our question, not like 5 minutes later, not during our question. It let us finish the question, and then it turned it off. And then we asked, did you die on the boat? And it turned on right after our question, not while we're answering, not 5 minutes later, but did you die on the boat? Turned on. Okay, thank you. Can you turn it back off? Off. And then we asked if it was from the East Coast. He was from the East Coast, it would be, I guess. And we got no response, so we assumed that was a no. And then we asked, I asked, I know that the ship was commissioned during the Second World War, during the draft. Were you drafted? And the light turned on. And we said, okay, thank you. Can you turn it back off? And by now, this is our third response. I'm thinking this is out of this world. Like, I have never seen this work in real life. Like, I've seen it work on television, but not like by my own eyes. Like, this is weird. Because the boat's not moving, the flashlight's not moving, we're not messing with it. We're just watching this flashlight turn on and off in response, seemingly in response to our questions. So then we decide to go, we say that we tell the spirit that we're gonna go through a group of ages, and when we get to its age group, if it will just turn the flashlight on. So we say, did you die between 18 and 21? We got no response. Or I'm sorry, 18 to 20, and we got no response. And then we said, are you 21 to 25? And the flashlight turned on. Said, okay, thank you, can you turn it back off? And it flickered off. That was the last response that we got. We did go through the ages between 21 and 25, but we got no response. And we didn't get any response with our next questions. So we just kind of assumed that he just ran out of energy to manifest, which happens. And in the moment, I think it was so exciting that I didn't really understand like what those responses meant. It wasn't until the next day after I'd slept on it and I was thinking about that experience, how crazy that was, what those responses meant. So like, though it means that we were possibly communicating with a spirit that died between the ages of 21 and 25, was drafted, and he was not from the East Coast. And that made me really emotional, because I'm really against forced conscription morally. So I realized that this person didn't want to be there in the first place. And then he died, and now he's stuck here thousands of miles away from home. And until that experience, I didn't really believe in intelligent hauntings. But this kind of changed, it opened my mind to it more, because even though like my brain still won't let me believe that like fully, holy crap, yep, that was a ghost, 100%. Because I don't know. But I'm not like closed-minded to it anymore. That experience is realizing that who we could have been talking to, this young man who is away from home, has been away from home for almost 70 years, dead, stuck here. You know, we don't know why he's still there. And with the little information that we got, we can't really do any more research as to who he could be, because, you know, we don't know how he died, we don't know when he died, we don't know, you know, where he's from. That would take another session. And, but it inspired me to make this documentary, because that was a story to me that needed to be told. You know, that's oftentimes like why spirits want to communicate in the first place. They have things they have to say that they want to communicate. And I think their stories and the people that are having to live and work in these haunted environments every single day, how that affects them in their daily lives, how they go about, you know, dealing with paranormal activity every single day, are really interesting stories. And piecing together how these people died, who they are, and why they're still here, you know, that's kind of history, and they're just as interesting as the living. And the living are just as interesting as the dead. So I'm really excited to make this documentary and share some really awesome stories. I hope I haven't bored you with my wacko story. It's wacko to me because I can hardly believe it myself. But I'm excited to hear y'all's ghost stories in the next couple of weeks. I hope that you're just as excited as we are to get going on this. And we'll hear from you next week.